Hello and welcome to etcfo.com. My name is Amol Dete and I'm in conversation with Ms. Aishwarya Ravi, the CFO of Kinara Capital. Aishwarya, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Amol, for having me here today to share our views.
Great, pleasure to have you here. So I have obviously specific questions, but let me get your perspective first and try to understand from a CFO's perspective, that too from an NBFC sector. How do you actually review the budget today?
Off the top, I felt that the budget was very well put together. It addressed a lot of concerns which right now we are facing. And it was a well put together package for many of the sectors, right? All the sectors were covered, like infrastructure, a little bit of MSMEs, and then textiles. So a lot of pain points was tried and addressed in this budget. So I would say a well put together package, though there were some misses. We will come to that later, but I think overall it was a good budget considering that we are passing through a pandemic and the government has to deal with all of that as well.
Okay, noted that. The government has actually tried to put a lot of focus on the investment, and they have in fact agreed or tolerated the fact that the fiscal deficit is going to go up. But what is more important is to putting the money into the infrastructure and the huge funds. How do you review it specifically in the finance perspective? Do you think that these are the steps which will actually help economy to grow in a long term?
Absolutely. I think the fiscal deficit has increased. So it was, I think, 9.8% for the current fiscal, and the next year is projected to be at about 6.8%. But we should note, I think, two things in mind. One, this is a pandemic year, and there is bound to be an inflection in terms of these spends. But secondly, what is more good to see is that many of these expenditures is going into capex projects, which in turn is going to give you some long-term benefits over the future years. And that's going to improve our economy. So a 5 trillion economy needs to have some sort of spends right now so that we get to reach there.
Okay, good that you spoke about the capex because being a CFO, I wanted to ask you that question. So, when we say that this is a good budget and is going to help the economy, my immediate question to you, Aishwarya, is will this help the CFOs of India Inc. to be very, what you can say, aggressive in terms of investing? Will it help India Inc. CFOs to build their confidence and think about the huge capex plans going ahead?
I think absolutely. I think it is recharging the market, revitalizing the market so that more investments and more funding can sort of flow into the structure. So the government has announced the mega tech projects as well, right? So if you look at the textile mega projects, this is one sector which has been hit
Right.
even because of GST, even before the pandemic. So trying to make such expenditures on such huge projects at this scale is definitely going to boost the economy as a whole. So job creation is going to happen, influx of capital and supply chain arrangements are going to happen, which obviously will sort of mirror the effect on different CFOs because they are all linked in different ways. And I honestly think that it's a motivating budget. And this will sort of bring in that sort of cultural ethos of going on the upward trend and getting that V-shaped recovery curve, on the right track.
Okay, noted that. Since you said that this is a motivating budget and the CFOs will look at it very positively, being a CFO of a lending company, will it motivate you, to release disperse funds very aggressively without questioning a lot, without thinking a lot?
Amol, that's, I would say, at any stage, I cannot do that as an NBFC, as a responsible NBFC, as a responsibly regulated NBFC. I have my duty on credit underwriting. I'm not here to just disburse funds. I'm here to disburse funds to the right recipient with the right methodologies so that, access to capital is being given to the right pockets of people. So yes, it will definitely motivate me to disburse to the right target group, expecting that there is a lot of future economies which is going to come in, which is what I would say it's motivating. But on the other hand, I would say in this specific budget for NBFCs, we did not see any specific liquidity measures which was expected. So there was a lot of ask from the industry to unlock the capital for NBFCs. I think that was, in my opinion, a miss on this budget, but otherwise, it is a fair budget to most of these sectors.
Thanks for that motivation and the explanation, Aishwarya. What I wanted to actually, maybe let me tweak that. What I wanted to also say is, during the pandemic and specifically in last 7 to 8 months, many NBFCs and including banks, they went risk averse. They were not, what you can say, disbursing loans to anybody and everybody. In fact, they increased or they put a lot of stress on their due diligence and something like that. In that regard, what I'm going to ask you is, will you be now comfortable in terms of, lending rationally, or will you still put a lot of filters in terms of, protecting yourself?
You're absolutely right that with the onset of pandemic, I would say quarter one and quarter two of this financial year, the disbursements were very risk averse. All of the players were risk averse because they did not know what to expect. But having said that, I think in Q3 of this financial year, most of the players have come back to normalcy. They have come back to their methodologies of credit underwriting, albeit a little bit more stricter because they have to factor in the pandemic and what's going to flow forward from that. So and the government's support in terms of the emergency credit guarantee scheme and of the different programs they sort of came up with, which was quite a chunk in the initial part of mini budget sort of a thing, did help in opening up the credit in our NBFC sort of financial institutions fray. Personally, what I can tell you is that Kinara has started disbursing. We have started disbursing responsibly. Of course, we have credit underwriting restrictions, but we are operating in a segment which is considered risky, and we will continue to do that operation so that the funds reach the right sort of participants, and we are back to almost normalcy. So if there is a good business, if there is a great business plan put together and the right target segment, we would of course fund them now.
Okay, so the market is actually very positive. The foreign investors are also showing a lot of interest. The fiscal deficit numbers are going up, but the government knows the reason and everybody is comfortable with it. We have also seen some positivity in the recovery side. Under this circumstances, which are the sectors that will, make you very comfortable going ahead to invest? For example, textile park that you mentioned some time back, infrastructure where the government is going to spend a lot of money, and there were other sectors also where things were not right in that direction. So what sectors, if I may ask, will make you really comfortable and confident to lend successfully?
I will answer that a little bit differently. Whatever sectors we have funded in the past, I'm happy to say that we will continue to fund them in the same vein, because what we have seen is that the pandemic affected all, and there was a little bit of stress across sectors for multiple businesses. But the way we have seen the recoveries shaping up in Q2 and Q3 of this year makes us believe that all of these sectors are up for the battle and they will come back on track pretty soon. So some of the sectors we do fund just so that you're aligned is auto, automobile components. Textiles is one of our good sectors to lend with, and we will continue to focus more on that, motivated by the fact that the government has announced a lot of SOPs around it. Some bit of fabrication, food, etc. are some of the sectors we will continue to lend aggressively.
On the taxation part, the government has actually not surprised people or by increasing the
I
taxes.
would
In
say
fact,
they have not shocked people by doing anything else. No news is good news there.
Absolutely. In fact, people just
Yeah,
put heart into their ear when
I,
the chapter comes about the taxation. But there
yeah.
is one interesting thing, and being a CFO, you may like it. Is specifically the faceless tax assessment with the ITAT. They're trying to launch a different tribunal specifically for the faceless
Correct.
assessment. I do understand, being a CFO, you quite often deal with the tax officers because there are always some, what you can say, debates, arguments about the tax issues. How helpful this move is, and what actually, the CFOs will gain out of this move.
For businesses who are running business cleanly, the faceless tax assessment is a very good thing, because you just put in facts and you're being assessed. But there's also a con to it, right? At the end of the day, some things need to be explained. You need to have a person who understands your side of the story. So it's a plus and a minus, but then it will at least cut out the first part of the deluge of assessments which used to happen, because some of it will automatically get done through the faceless assessments. And in the future, this is a great sort of foundation for us to move completely faceless sometime in the future, because right now, even though it has been initiated, it can never be 100%. It will be a mix of both, and it's sort of evolutionary. I think it's a good step. Being a CFO, I have all the facts and figures. I'm happy to have the faceless machine take a call on whether my numbers are right or wrong, so that my assessment gets done, processed faster.
And now, I will remind you about the misses that we discussed in the first part. Yes, the budget is good, very positive, optimistic, and motivating. I heard a lot of things about it, but by any chance, do you think there are any misses? There is something that the finance minister should have covered, which is not being there.
From specifically the NBFC point of view, we would have been happier to get the liquidity framework more robust. So there was expectations on liquidity and ease of liquidity to NBFCs like us, and that's something which was not touched upon in the budget at all, uh, which would have been great. Because just about, I think, a week or so ago, RBI has come out with a paper on differentiated assessment for NBFCs. They've created sort of layers. So something to tie in with those layering and liquidity and rating would have been great in terms of the budget to sort of mobilize funding, which is the need of the hour. For us to disburse, we need to get the funds to disburse, and that needs to have a clear flow. A lot of things were done through the Atmanirbhar package. An extension of that for the foreseeable future would have been great. So we think that that's something which could have been addressed during the budget. That was a miss. And secondly, a lot of great initiatives have been put up, but how far implementation of it is going to happen is, the devil is in the details, as always. So that's most important, because a lot of things was announced in the last budget. Some of it we are still waiting for it to pan out, and it'll be important to see how some of the new things like the DFIs, which has been announced,
Yes.
and the bond institutionalization framework, which has been announced, how the details are being built up around this will be very interesting to see.
Right, Aishwarya. I think that's it from my side as well. And thank you so much for sharing your inputs. It was really meaningful listening to you. And, it was good that we could have you on our show. Thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, Amol. Thank you so much.
Thank you.